Hey everyone, it's Kay. Just real quick, I wanted to apologize for the audio in this episode. It's a little tinny and you can hear a lot of background noise. So please just bear with us. Hope you still enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the Fuck My Work Life podcast. I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay.
And we take your stories from the workplace and read them back to you.
And make them
betterer.
Funnerer. Or we just get a good
we get a good kick out of them. Hopefully you do too.
We do some riffing. Ooh, my eye is twitching. Can you see it?
Is it riffing or is it rifting?
It's riffing.
No, I think it's rifting.
Okay. Do you want to make a bet?
All right, well, I'm going with rifting. I don't want to bet anything.
I will bet you $5 it's riffing.
I don't have $5.
Look, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
I've read all the magazines.
It's ripping. My eye won't stop twitching.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, so...
What does that have to do with anything?
Those stupid commercials. You remember those commercials from like 10 years ago? Hey, do you know how to weld? No. But I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, great.
You don't remember those stupid commercials?
No, I don't remember anything. My memory is absolute shit.
Yeah.
Except for 80s TV show theme song lyrics. Those, I'll remember probably till the day I die.
Yes, I know.
But anything important, just gone from my brain.
Well, I don't think those Holiday Inn Express commercials were important. But I got a kick out of them.
I don't remember them. I do remember the Real Men of Genius Budweiser commercials from like the...
Do you remember the frogs?
Early...
The Bud...
Of course.
The Budweiser.
Why? They came back on this last Super Bowl, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know.
They had that Budweiser commercial that was all the old Budweiser commercials all coming together. And I think the frogs made an appearance on that. Yeah, Super Bowl was stupid
honestly,
this
I don't remember any of the commercials from Super Bowl. I don't even really remember the Super Bowl.
Well, because it was boring and stupid and we weren't at a party.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Kansas City and...
Sports ball versus
some other
sports ball. I don't know. It wasn't the Saints, so that's why it didn't matter, right?
Well, yeah, but I still watch. It doesn't have to always be the Saints.
See, I only watch the commercials.
They've only been in one in the past, 12 years.
Yeah.
Anywho, drink.
Ooh, I said you said anywho, drink. So, we drink because we work. Mm-hmm. Can anyone guess what Jay is drinking today?
I bet they can't.
Probably not.
I bet they can't because it's not the same thing I drank the last podcast.
It is not. You went astray last podcast.
Ah, shit, that's a lie. I take that back. I did drink this last podcast. It's just not the one I featured on.
Right, it wasn't the first thing you drank.
Yes, it wasn't. It wasn't my featured beer.
So what are you drinking?
Coors Light, baby.
Course.
Coors Latte, baby.
Coors Light.
Keeping it real.
I poke fun at you, but honestly, when I want a beer...
It's a good beer.
Anywho. Oh, I gotta stop saying that. That's the only time I say anywho is during this frickin' fucking podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm electric.
Do you wanna know what I'm drinking today?
Well... I know what you're drinking.
Yes, but we're playing to a crowd that can't see us.
Yes. What are you drinking today?
Butthole. I am straying from beer this week because I have been hardcore craving margaritas lately. So I am drinking a Kay's Special Fizzy Margarita.
Cosmopolitan.
No, I don't like Cosmopolitans. This is a Kay's Fizzy Margarita. Special Fizzy Margarita. And what that is, it's very special. It's any kind of pre-mixed margarita mix. Today I'm drinking the Jose Cuervo one with Grand Marnier. I don't know if they call it a Cadillac.
That's some fancy shit.
It's good shit. But margaritas are too sweet for me, so I do half margarita mix and half sparkling water.
Oh, yeah.
And then a squeeze of fresh lime. And it's perfect. And that is Kay's Special Fizzy Margarita, which is what I am drinking right now. So I apologize in advance if you hear...
I get it now.
What?
K's, like yours. I was like, I didn't know it was...
I've never heard of the brand K's.
Yeah, I've never heard of that brand before when you first said it. And then I realized, she mixes this shit in it, so it's like hers.
It's
I get
mine.
it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all mine. And I love it. And I'm going to drink it. So I apologize if you hear my ice clinking in the glass during the podcast. But we ain't fancy here.
Hell no, baby.
Okay. Today, episode 8. We don't have a title for it yet. But this episode is dedicated.
Prank yourself. That's what it's called.
Prank yourself. Oh, okay. We can call it prank yourself.
Prank yourself.
Prank yourself. Although it would be hard to prank yourself. But yes.
Not for some people.
I could probably do it because I have a shitty memory. I could set up a prank for myself and completely forget about it and then be surprised when I happen upon whatever prank I set forth. So today's episode is dedicated to workplace pranks.
Yes.
We have a couple emails from listeners and...
you know who you are.
Oh, thank you, listeners. And then I found a Bored Panda article online that was 181 pranks. And I picked some of those out that I thought were pretty funny for us to read.
So, like, we'll just do, like, 75 of them?
Yeah, or maybe 170.
No, that's too many.
No, we have, like, 10 or so. But they're short. They're short little things.
Okay.
God, I say a lot.
Yep.
So hopefully these inspire you. Oh, but before we even get into those, have you ever had a great prank played on you at work, or have you played a great prank on someone at work?
I wouldn't call it great. I got a kick out of it. The person I did it to did not get a kick out of it. Yeah. But it wasn't anything like, I'll tell it. So I used to work in a lab, and in this lab, we would, every once in a while, we would look at microscopes. We would have to use our microscopes to look at things. And I used to mess with this lady who was she wasn't jumpy, but she was like...
skittish?
Wound up.
Okay.
She was wound up. And I had these little like plastic cockroaches and crickets and shit like that. And when she was doing something else and not at her microscope, down, like you look through the microscope and there's a light at the bottom that like lights everything up. In the little cavity that light is in, I put one of those little roaches in.
Oh no.
So as soon, and like she would slide her little petri dish or whatever over the light, and everything was clear, so the light could come through and light up what you were looking at. And there was a roach at the bottom. And she jumped and screamed and would not go near her desk until someone figured out what the fuck she was looking at.
And pulled it out.
And I was like 10 feet away just snickering like a 10-year-old. Like,
that would scare the shit out of
me. I kept it pretty cool, and I was just looking at her like, what's going on?
Why are you screaming?
What's going on? Why are you screaming? Like, what's up? What's just like someone's finger or some shit? Like, what's in there? Why are you screaming so much? And she immediately, even though I kept it cool, she immediately knew. And
it was you? Yeah,
there was expletives and then laughs.
Did anyone else point the finger at you?
No.
No? That's good.
No, people, they leave me alone.
Yeah. So I'm not a prank person. I can never think of great pranks to pull on people. And I actually really hate it when people do it to me. Like I've had people put like little tiny bits of paper over my mouse sensor. So you can't figure out why your mouse isn't working and it drives you crazy. And then someone put a piece of paper over my mouth. I just get annoyed because I got had, which I hate.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, this was back in the early noughts. Is that what we call the 2000s? The early noughts.
Oh.
Before cell phones were such a huge thing. Like, most people were starting to get them, but they were still the flip phones, and there were still landlines everywhere. So I worked in this big open space floor plan office that had a bunch of cubicles. And it had the big pillars that kind of went around all over the floor, and each pillar had a landline phone on it. And so one day this guy goes to his lunch break, and everyone takes their cell phones, and they were pretty small at that point, like little Nokia phones, and hid it all around his desk, like in drawers, under the desk, in his chair, just kind of everywhere. And they waited for him to come back to lunch and go to his desk, and they all kind of went to one of these pillars with a landline, and then just kind of one by one started calling their own cell phones. And He was flipping out. Couldn't, like, figure out what was ringing at his desk and just, like, going nuts.
Yeah, because I guess back then there wasn't like a bunch of different ringtones.
They were all pretty similar. You know, there was, like, the couple you could choose from, but they were also still pretty new, so it wasn't just common to have something ringing at your desk, and the fact that they were kind of hidden, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then because everyone pretty much in that office was in on it and just waiting for his reaction. So
that shit drives me crazy now.
funny.
Like, even with people with their cell phones on silent now,
you can still hear them, like, buzzing.
Yeah, you hear them buzzing, and I'll have my headphones in, and for some reason I guess it's like that certain frequency of a phone vibrating on a desk where even with my headphones in, I can hear the...
Yeah. I can actually hear our neighbors through the wall.
Yeah.
Their phone vibrating sometimes, and I'm looking around trying to figure out if it's mine or yours, and it's the neighbors through the wall, so it must be like sitting on a piece of furniture that's up against our shared wall or something, and you can hear that buzz. Good times.
I have another one.
Okay.
That I actually just thought of. It also has to do with bugs. I make the quotation mark because there were no actual bugs involved.
I'm going to start calling you Bug Man.
So there was the place that I currently work at, there's a woman who is deathly afraid of all animals and insects. No dogs, no cats, no squirrels, no birds, she's afraid of all of them.
She is the exact opposite of me.
Yeah, and me.
Well, I hate bugs, but all animals.
And she is also wound pretty tight. And she has an office, but she also has a desk outside of her office. And one day I got someone had like a plastic candy jar that they brought in that had, it was just a plastic like a
Costco jug.
Top. Yeah, like and all the candy was gone. And I was like, oh, can I have that? And so I took Post-it notes and I like crumpled them up and put them inside of there. So they, like, if you shook it or picked it up, they would move around and you'd hear like, and then I took this plastic jar and I had black tape at my desk and I taped the whole thing completely black so you couldn't see in it.
You have a lot of free time at work.
Well, no, but I make free time. For something like this, I make it.
Yeah.
And on the top, I wrote, "Do not open." And while she was away from her desk, I just set it on the floor next to her desk. And I did it when no one was around. And I set it there. And a couple hours later, she comes in. And then I see like 4 people crowded around her desk. And they're like, she's like, "Who put this here? What is this? What is that?" And she picked it up and she heard it shaking and she immediately dropped it. She ran in her office and closed the door. And she was in there for like 2 hours.
Probably on the phone with security.
She was freaked the fuck out by this. And I'm sitting on the other side of the room. And also the manager who is my manager, I told him what I did. Mm-hmm. And we were in like eyesight of each other. So I was just looking at him smiling and he was smiling and nodding because he also knows how wound up she is about insects or animals or anything. And so it was like 2 hours she was in her office. And I was like, what the fuck? She's not coming out. So I went over there and I grabbed the jar and I opened her fucking door and walked in and I was like, what is this? And I shook it. She was like, no, go away. And I just started laughing. She was like, did you put that there? And I was like, yeah. Well, why'd you do that? To fuck with you.
You're so mean.
It's not mean. It's fucking hilarious.
Did she forgive you?
Yeah.
That's good.
I think it
loosened her up a bit?
Loosened her up a little bit, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Freaking pranks, man.
Freaking pranks.
Freaking pranks.
Let's take a pause. I'm going to grab a beer.
Okay. And we're back.
We're back.
From drink break. I refilled my K's special fizzy margarita. Jay got another Coors.
Yep, I got another Coors.
So let's read some of these pranks from the Bored Panda article. And I will link this article in the show notes for this episode. So if you guys want to read all 181 of the pranks, we'll have that for you.
Who's going to go first?
Whoever. You go first. You have more.
Okay. So these are pretty short. Short and sweet. One of my coworkers has a ton of family pictures all over his desk and walls. I was slowly changing them all to pictures of me. I worked really hard to find similar pictures to replace them. I even traveled to some of the places to replicate them. Jesus Christ,
wow.
That's fucking commitment right there.
That is commitment.
I just about had them all when another guy we worked with asked him why he had so many pictures of me. He thought this married guy had a crush on me or something. Oh, what a dick.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Why do you have so many pictures of me on your
file
desk?
that away, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take some commitment if one of your coworkers has, like, pictures of them in Paris.
Yeah. Right. That is dedication. Okay. So this one says, I worked as an expediter in a restaurant. I'm thinking expediter means trainer. Because it says, one week I had a new person training, so at the end of the night, when we were cleaning, I told the new girl to make sure she empties all the hot water from the coffee machine and dump it out. Little did she know, it was just a hot water line connected to the coffee machine. She filled over 5 pitcherfuls of water before she figured it out. Everyone had a good laugh over it. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But still good. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So this one starts right off. I made a new folder on one of my coworkers' desktop called Russian Dwarf Porn, and then took a screenshot. Set the screenshot as his desktop background. For an engineer, it took him a ridiculous amount of time before he realized why he couldn't delete the folder.
That is diabolical.
That is fucking great. That is great.
Like, very much want to try this on someone.
No shit. It's too bad all of everyone's desktop fucking locks after a certain amount of time. But I want to fucking do that so bad.
There were actually a few in this article similar where they would do something, take a screenshot of the desktop, and then set it as the background.
Yeah.
So someone did it and they put everything upside down, basically, so it looked like your computer just went haywire and flipped everything.
Yeah, I've done that before. Where it's like control and the up arrow or down arrow, and it'll flip your screen.
No, but they did it. They took a screenshot of it and
it flipped it upside down.
So the control arrow didn't fix it, so it would freak people out.
Shitheads.
Yeah. Why is that even an option? Why would you need your screen upside down?
I always because
Hey, Bill Gates, now that I have my vaccine, can you please let me know why you do that?
Can you just send it straight to my brain?
Send me a message to my microchip, please.
No, well, I know some people, like I've seen people with their monitors flipped. Their monitor turned sideways. So you can, so it's like a long screen. But
why? Just because I want to be different.
Yeah, well, that's probably a big part of what people do now, but I'm sure
I'm sure there's certain programs that just come out better that way.
Or like certain jobs where they need a
longer, like
a letter, like what we usually have the landscape screen.
Yeah.
And
it's like when you go for your phone from either, you flip it and it moves. Whatever. Is it my turn?
Yes, it is your turn.
Okay. This one is my favorite. I love it so much. I don't know if it's true, but I didn't fact check these.
It's true.
But it sounds awesome.
You can't fact check it.
What they say a program can do, I can fact check that. Anyway, here is the story. Both Excel and Word have a feature that reads text out loud in a computerized voice. If someone asked for my help with an error and then had to step away, I'd quickly build a document with white text against a white background so that as they were returning, their computer would be declaring, cascading system-wide malfunction initiating from this workstation, reformatting network hard drives in 10, 9, 8.
Fucking assholes.
That is...
Does this little skull come up and go,
right? Oh my god, I love that so much.
That's pretty good.
I've had people do that where they'll send emails or something where they do the white text on the white background and they're just like, you dick, why? Why? It's kind of fun to do that though. Sometimes just do a little hidden text with the white text in a white background.
You're a cunt.
Dear boss, here are the files you asked for. I blah, 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 blah. And at the bottom, I hate your guts in white text.
Fuck your own face.
I hate you. Okay.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Once, I plugged in a wireless mouse into their computer without them knowing, and a few times a day I would just jiggle the mouse. Just enough to hear them slamming down the mouse and muttering under their breath, and I'd stop. This went on for several days. Sometimes I'd stop by to chat, and I would bring the mouse. When they would go to click on something, I would just move the mouse just so slightly so they couldn't actually hover over what they wanted to click. It was brilliant. Brilliant!
It was brilliant. I feel like the way things are spelled in this, I think a lot of these come from the UK.
Oh, probably. You know
Is
what?
Lord Panda a UK website?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know,
their humor is the fucking best.
Yes. I can totally see a lot of these being like English humor.
Yeah.
Just fucking with people because
it's like originally it was a British show, The Office.
Yeah. And
I think they did the same prank in both the British and American version with the stapler and the Jell-O mold.
Yes. Yeah, the stapler and the Jell-O, yeah.
Love
it was actually like all of his shit in the Jell-O mold.
I think I was British in a past life because their humor just speaks to me.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It's not as stuffy as American humor, I feel like. So, my turn? Yeah?
Yeah, your turn.
Okay. So, our company has a cafeteria with a sandwich vending machine. It has doors that can only be opened after paying whatever amount. We had an annoying coworker who would throw his personal keys down into the middle of a community work table every morning while we were currently working on it. We had to move his keys out of the way to get our work done. After several weeks of frustration, we all chipped in and bought the most expensive sandwich in the vending machine. Of course, we replaced the sandwich with his keys. It took him several hours of looking and $7.50 to find his keys.
Assholes.
Oh, it's so great.
Assholes.
Well, no.
But great.
Deserved.
Yes. Yeah.
Well deserved. Cheers. I'm going to drink my margarita.
Okay. My boss keeps pictures of his kids on his desk. When he's gone, I replace them with photos of Owen Wilson. And that's the end.
Simple and perfect.
Yep.
Do you want to do another one since that one was so short?
Yeah. This one's pretty long. There was this girl sitting next to me in an open plan office, and we were always joking with each other. One day, she had a meeting scheduled at her desk with a male coworker I knew she had a crush on. So while she was in the bathroom getting ready, I went to her PC, found the guy's photo on the company website, and made it her desktop background. Jesus fucking Christ. That's like sexual harassment type shit. Then I tabbed back to whatever program she had been using so she wouldn't notice right away. When she comes back, guy arrives for the meeting. They're talking away for about 10 minutes before she goes to check something on the computer and just let an enormous shriek out of her and goes bright red when she sees the desktop. In a way, that prank almost worked too well because her shock was so obviously genuine. It was obvious she was the victim of a prank rather than a crazy stalker, which is what I was aiming for.
That is so mean.
That's so fucking mean.
I love it, but it's horrible.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so here is my last one. I used to work in this restaurant in the downtown area of my city, which had several restaurants nearby. Whenever we would get a new dishwasher or inexperienced cook, we would say something like, "Hey, we're out of ice mix. Head to restaurant X and grab some." The other restaurants were in on this, and the poor kid would be sent restaurant to restaurant until he caught on. Another good one is to send them for the quote-unquote long stand. Same kind of thing, but they come in and ask for the long stand. Then they are basically left to stand there as long as it takes to realize that they are an idiot. That's so mean. When I worked at a fast food restaurant, we would have a couple little pranks that we would play on the newbies. One would be if the big iced tea dispenser ran out of tea, we would be like, "Oh, you have to go up on the roof and get the sun tea from the roof."
Shit.
Take them forever to try to figure out how to do that. And then another one was we would tell them that they have to go out and mop the drive-through lane. Just
Jesus fucking Christ. You assholes.
I know.
If I could understand if it was like a young kid who had zero life experience, but if you told me to mop a drive-through lane, I'd be like, give me my final fucking paycheck.
I mean, it was always like this fast food restaurant, I feel like 98% of the employees were young.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young at the time. I was 18.
I think most fast food restaurants.
Yeah. And I almost fell for the mop the drive-thru lane when I first started. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, it's outdoors. Like, why am I mopping this?
And fucking, like, what am I going to mop it and then 10 cars are going to drive through it? Like,
okay, so those are just...
I have one more.
Oh, you have one more. Sorry, go ahead.
It's short. It's okay. It's more an annoying prank. When you get like a mass email that's sent to a bunch of people, reply all to say, thank you. Then reply all again to your previous reply to say, thank. If anybody complains about using reply all to apologize for using reply all.
I added that one because I've been on so many emails where there are 50 fucking people on the email and then it's sent in error or something and everyone replies all. Oh, sorry. I don't think this was meant for me. Oh, sorry. And you're just getting email after email after email. It's so obnoxious.
I actually, it was like right after we got called back from the pandemic. Right after I got called back from the pandemic, there was like some instructions that was sent company-wide. So like all of the different areas, all of the different departments of the company got this email. And the instructions in the email were clear to me and they were clear to a great number of people, but there were certain people that they were not clear to.
Yeah, there's always some.
And they would reply all with their questions about what they should do. Oh. And their reply all would create other people replying all because their reply all confused other people.
They're like, wait, I thought I got this.
So we had all of these stupid people replying all to this email asking questions. And I got sick of my fucking computer dinging every 5 minutes with stupid people not understanding simple instructions and replying all to it. Yeah. So I replied all, where's my keys?
Oh, I remember.
And I totally got fucking pulled into the office. And they were like, they said, Jay, you can't do that. Like, I understand it's just, you're just having fun, but...
but we work with idiots.
Yeah.
And you have to...
Exactly.
You have to be kind
You could have offended someone. And at that point, I wanted to be like, if they were offended, good. Yeah. They needed to be. Because that's just... I could have said, you're all fucking idiots. Yeah. You know, and I'd be in the same position I am in now. Yeah. In an office with people telling me I can't do that.
Yeah. So this is completely unrelated to pranks, but your story reminded me of this. And I'm sure a lot of people in this past year could probably relate to this, but we had a very large Zoom call, I think it was part Zoom, just part conference call.
Yeah.
With a huge number of employees after coming back after the pandemic, and there was some sort of protocol that they wanted people to follow in a form we had to fill out. And so they had probably 100 people on this call, and the poor HR woman had to repeat 400 times,
yes,
please mute your phones. Please mute your phones. Because people were eating chips. You could hear the chip paper wrinkling and just the stupidest questions you could possibly imagine. That was probably the hardest I have laughed in the past year on this call. I was crying just from the repeated, please mute your phone, and the dumb questions and the chips crinkling and just all this crazy noise in the background. And I was just, I was dying. I was laughing so hard. And that just reminded me.
Yeah. Those phone calls were great.
Oh my God.
And then we had a bunch of these like mass calls where you would call in on your cell phone and you would just listen to what the company had to say. And, you know, we were all off work because it was the pandemic. It was the shutdown. And it was the shutdown. And we were all off work. So, you know, there were people who would wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning and, you know, hit the fucking bottle.
Yeah.
Let's hit that shit.
Yeah.
And then we had our call at like 2. So they were well into the day drinking.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't shut up. they would not shut up and didn't understand anything that was happening and would just want to chat.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, guys.
A couple months been. Yeah, I had my team that I'm on at work had what we all thought, well, it's hard because we would have work-related calls where we would have to talk about maybe things that we could do to work from home, professional things. But then occasionally we would also have kind of team meeting happy hour calls, which were more social and be like, hey, let's just have a house party. We'll drink and we'll just chat and just keep in touch. And so, hi, kitty. My kitty is looking at me.
We're being judged from the top of the stairs.
Yeah. So one of these calls was scheduled, and it was clearly a work-related call. And it was before noon. I think it might have been at 11:30. Yeah. And we're all jumping on, and the stupid cameras are popping up. And one of my coworkers was just like, hey, everyone, I'm drinking whiskey. And he had a glass of whiskey, and we were all just, dude, not the happy hour call. It was great. It was horrible. We were in a pandemic, but it was kind of just fun in its own weird way to be off work, have to stay at home. Like, it was just such a strange time, and it was kind of wonderful, kind of horrifying. Yeah. It was such a strange mix of emotions.
I think the beginning, everyone was, when all of this first went down, like this time last year, I was texting with people and they were like, what are they going to do? What's going on? Like, what do you think will happen? And I'm just like, look, just chill.
Well, we also, in the very beginning, we thought, okay, this might go on for a couple weeks. Yeah. Like, nobody knew it was going to drag on.
By June, we'll be back at work. Yeah. And it was like, holy shit, we didn't get called back to work until like July.
Yeah. Although I was terrified when it first happened. I had just bought literally 5 days before we got shut down. I bought a brand new car that I had been saving for. It had been over 10 years since I had almost 15 years since I had a new car. And I was saving up, and I researched, and I planned, and then I bought my new car. And then a week later, it was like, the world is shutting down.
Car is 6 months old. It has 150 miles on it.
But I didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. I didn't know if I would have a job to come back to. And I was just like, fuck, I don't want to move in with my parents. Sorry, Mom and Dad, love you. But, it was terrifying. Yeah. And then it just kind of got into this, like, hey, okay, I'm not working. I'm just going to start drinking at 10 a.m.
Well, we were pretty well taken care of.
Yes. Our employer, we were very lucky.
Yes.
Very lucky to have a job to go back to. Yes. We were taken care of.
Yes.
And so I am so grateful that we had it much better than a lot of people in America and around the world.
Well, even those people were well taken care of. People who were laid off and weren't in the situation we were in, they were also, like, they had to deal with unemployment. Yeah. But if you look at what the government did for the people who were on unemployment,
the extra money helps.
Yes, exactly.
But also, if you had a job where you were making a lot of money, you had a family to support, like, even with the extra money, you were still losing money through unemployment. So I can see how that was a hardship. Yes. Some people actually made out and were making more money than they were making before. So it's a whole range, a whole gambit. Everybody's experience was different. I'm sure it was horrible for everyone in their own special way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I feel like
just the anxiety of like, this was like, if you get it, you better fucking buckle up because you're fucked.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was kind of like, not if you get it, but okay, when am I going to get this?
Yeah, when you get it.
When am I going to get this? How's it going to affect me? Am I going to survive? Yeah. And it's, God, fuck this past year.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little light at the end of the tunnel now.
Yeah, there is.
Like, I know it's still not great. I know there's still people getting it. Hi, kitty. But I feel like it's not in the news anymore. It used to be every news story I would get in my my email roundup of news stories
Yeah.
every morning, and now you just don't hear about it, even though it's still happening.
It's still happening.
And other countries.
But I think we've had a year and we've had a year where like the testing and the research into it there were so many people who were like doctors, and they worked in a lab testing this and worked for pharmaceutical companies, and they were testing this, and all of them switched to, okay, how can we fight this?
Yeah.
How can we fight this and bring us back to some sort of normalcy at some point, and that they've got this vaccine, and I think the vaccine is good. At first I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, at first I'm like, I don't want to take something that they've only tested for a couple months, and then by the time it was getting close to being available, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I want it. Give me that vaccine. I want to go back to some sort of normalcy in my life.
And I think a lot of people look at
Thanks, Bill Gates.
I think a lot of people look at these big pandemics that come up and these diseases that come up and in the past, and they're like, oh, it took them 5 years to come up with a vaccine back then.
Well, that was back then.
Exactly. Our medical industry is so far advanced now.
What was the last big pandemic? It was the Spanish flu, right?
Yeah.
Was there even a vaccine created for that, or did it just kind of peter out? I mean, I know it went on for about 18 months before it was... Yeah, and
I think it was more of like a, what do they call it? Where
herd immunity.
Like the herd immunity.
But also, people didn't travel, like they weren't as mobile, back then as they were now. They weren't going from country to country and spreading things around as much as as quickly as this spread across the world this time.
Yeah, and there may have been pandemics after that.
We should Google it, but I'm not going to do it right now because I'm tipsy. This has gone way off topic.
No, but that's fine.
It's kind of the topic of the world lately.
Exactly. This podcast.
I hope you guys are still listening.
Oh, they're still listening. I mean, I've been told that my voice is quite nice to listen to.
Well, someone told me I have a sexy voice.
Well, you do.
Do I? I feel like it sounds very nasally.
No, when I listen to the podcast, when we release it, I'm totally into listening to you talk. When I hear my voice, I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Everybody loves your voice. You've got this, like, deep radio voice.
Yeah, I know, but when I listen to it, I'm like, fucking A.
I think there's something in our ears that makes our voices sound different to ourselves.
All right, now we're getting tipsy and going way the fuck off topic. Let's pull it back a little bit. Love you guys for listening. Please. Hope you're still there.
Let's read. We have a couple emails from our loyal listeners.
All right, so we want to get into the listener stories now?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Mine is pretty long.
Mine is longish.
Why don't I go first, and then you can end with the shorter one.
Okay.
All right. This one is called Prank Wars.
Prank Wars.
Prank Wars. Years ago, I was working at a large corporation as a design engineer and shared one of hundreds of cubicles with 3 other guys. Okay, I got it now. I didn't understand that. I was like, so there were hundreds of cubicles, but there was just fucking 3 of you?
All 3 guys shared 100 cubicles.
I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, each of us had a desk and a drafting table. I occupied the back right area of our office. Bob was next to me in the back left corner, and Carl and Ted in the front left and right corners. Carl and Ted were younger guys and always hung out together and seemed to enjoy having fun. Bob was the by-the-book, quiet one.
Bob has no fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, his name's fucking Bob. What do you expect? Very organized. Everything had its place. Always kept a clean work area. Carl and Ted, on the other hand, were your basic slobs.
Those goddamn millennials.
Exactly. There was a rumor circulating that Bob had a photographic memory, so one day Carl and Ted decided to test this rumor out. They waited until Bob left the office. They then moved his desk lamp over several inches and waited for Bob to return and see if he noticed. Bob returned to his desk and stopped and said, "Who moved my lamp?" Carl and Ted got a little smile out of that.
Oh, Bob.
The wheels began to turn in their little juvenile brains. And so the prank started to play out over the next several weeks. Next, while Bob was away from his office, they rotated the receiver or handset of his telephone. This was before cell phones and wireless phones. 180 degrees. So the phone cord was at the other end of the receiver. Then they were going to call his phone, and when he picked up, he'd be speaking into the earpiece. But before they could do that, Bob said as soon as he got back, "Who's been messing with my phone?"
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Get a grip, pal.
You old whippersnapper, Bob. I feel like Bob would have like a Wisconsin accent.
Yeah, his name's fucking Bob.
Bob. Oh, Bob, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
Oh, Bob, turn that receiver around, yeah?
On the second phone prank, they simply removed the cord between the handset and the base. And as they saw Bob coming down the hall, they called his phone so it was ringing as he got to the office. So he runs in and quickly picks up the receiver and suddenly notices nobody on the line and his receiver is not connected. Carl and Ted burst out laughing. These are fucking children.
I just picture Beavis and Butthead.
What are they? They're like they have drafting tables. Are they engineers or?
Well, he said it. They're a design engineer.
Okay. Oh yeah, they did say that.
We took Bob's phone cord away.
Another day, they adjusted his chair slightly, and when Bob sat down, noticed and again said, "Who's been fucking with my chair?"
Oh, Bob said fuck?
No, he said sitting, but I changed it.
Oh. Bob, put a quarter in the swear jar.
That was the F word. You put $1.
A whole dollar.
Then they changed the time on his desk clock back about 10 minutes. When Bob returns, within a few seconds, Bob calls out, "Okay, guys, who's messing with my clock?"
Look, Bob, at this point,
Yeah.
you really have to ask who's fucking.
Exactly. I mean, there's hundreds of cubicles, and there's only 3 of you.
Gosh darn it. Gosh diddly on it. Who could be fucking with my stuff?
Apparently, Bob's from Fargo.
Everyone in my mind is from Fargo.
Then there was the time Bob returned to the office and his chair was completely gone. Just gone. Carl and Ted started laughing and went and retrieved Bob's precious chair. These would all make for great iPhone videos to post online, if that existed back then.
Oh, if only.
Yeah, I mean, they would. But if it was the same 2 guys fucking with Bob and all of these videos, it would give Bob a really bad name because he's like by the book design engineer, but dumb as fuck.
Bob is not well versed in social cues.
No, not at all. In our work, we use many colored pencils in our design work. Oh, but kindergarten teachers?
Yeah. They're kindergarten design engineers.
Bob always kept his pencils all together in one place. Were they in any particular order? Carl and Ted tested this out. No shit.
I feel like Carl and Ted need a bigger workload.
Yeah. I feel like Carl and Ted have way too much fucking time on their hands.
Carl and Ted are the type
all they do is fuck with Bob.
Right? They're the type that there's a group project and they're like, "Oh yeah, just let me know when the meeting is," and then fucking take credit for everything.
Yeah, let me know when you're done.
Yeah, fuckers. I hate Carl and Ted.
Once again, Bob was out of the office and the guys rearranged the order of Bob's colored pencils. Sure enough, when Bob returned, he said, "Who's been messing with my stuff again?" "Guys. Hey there, guys. Are you messing with my stuff again?"
Mike Ditka. No. Mike Ditka?
Oh, yeah, that was more of a Chicago.
Is it Mike Ditka?
Ditka.
But is it Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's Mike. Mike Ditka.
The Bears.
The Bears. All right, you're drunk. Anyway, well, we all learned Bob did have a photographic memory because he remembered everything had its place. And if you moved it just 1 inch, he would notice.
Bob knows an inch.
Bob either needs a wife or a new wife, if he already has one, or something to spruce up his personality.
A snake milker.
Milk my snake, wash my cooter.
Oh.
There's that cooter again. Jesus.
There has to be a cooter in every episode.
Every fucking episode.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there is a restaurant being built across the street from our place, and they painted the outside white with orange trim. And it was right after we started this podcast. And both of us were like, fucking A, it's going to be a fucking Hooters.
God, I was hoping it was going to be a Hooters.
And it's not going to be a Hooters.
It's not.
And it kind of deflated us.
I was very sad. I was like, what else could be orange and white and this obnoxious? Guess what, folks? Not a fucking Hooters.
Yeah, it's not a Hooters.
Anyway, that is a little aside.
Anyway, that's all right. We can keep Cooter alive. Hooters and Cooters, baby.
Hooters and Cooters.
Where our steaks always
Your
pink.
sister loves the Cooters.
Oh, she fucking hates it. Cooters, where all our steaks pink.
Oh, love you, sister.
Sister. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's right, baby.
I feel like our podcast is slowly becoming a drunken work story podcast.
Good. It should be.
Whatever.
I mean, we could sit here sober and tell these stories, but I don't think we'll be able to riff very well.
Riff.
I'm just doing it to fuck with you. Because, once again, we be drunk.
I would say tipsy.
Yeah, I'm definitely tipsy.
Good,
I'm not drunk.
Tipsy. Finish your story. Was that it?
That's it.
No, you have a whole other page.
Still not drunk.
Uh-huh.
Working with all the colored pencils, we also ended up with a lot of eraser shavings that would collect in the tray at the bottom of the drafting tables. So Carl, Ted, and myself all collected our shavings one day and dumped them into Bob's tray.
I like how they're working the author into the pranks now.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's been doing this whole time, just quietly
just
observing.
Observing. This time, Bob got a little pissed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he does have a personality.
We've reached Bob's level. With eraser shavings.
Now Bob strikes back. Out of character for him, for sure. Well, he has no character, so of course. When Carl and Ted were out to some meeting with our boss, Bob spent quite a bit of time putting T-pins into the seat cushion of Carl and Ted's chairs. What a dick.
God damn. Like, when Bob
you fuck with my shit, I'm gonna hurt you.
Wow.
Unbeknownst to Bob, just before this meeting, Carl and Ted had superglued all Bob's pencils and pens to his desk. What the fuck? Bob hadn't discovered this yet, and just as he's finishing up making pin cushions, we see Carl and Ted and the boss coming down the hallway talking.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, the big boss man's in it. Bob turns to return to his desk, and as they all come into the office continuing their talk, Carl and Ted sat right down. They both immediately jumped up and yelling out, "Ouch!
My booty!"
Just as Bob discovers all his pencils and pens were glued to his desk, and he yells out, "Motherfucker!"
Ooh!
Our boss is standing there. He's never heard such words flowing from Bob's mouth. I can hear the words in my boss's head going, what the fuck is going on here? Bob, Carl, and Ted are all looking at each other, and the boss, a large, serious man, standing there, watching all this unfold within a few seconds. So the boss says, "Can I see the three of you in my office now?"
Uh-oh.
It was a very quiet working environment for the next several days. Not sure who won the prank wars. Those weren't even fucking prank wars.
Well, it was like...
They were pranking the dumb guy.
Prank.
And then the dumb guy...
one time he fights back.
Yeah,
he gets
they
caught.
all get fucked.
That's why Bob is on the straight and narrow. Because the one time he fucking fights back, he gets in trouble. I'm just trying to picture the actual T-pens in the seats. So the pointy side would have to go into the cushion, right? But it would still be uncomfortable to sit down on the T end of those things. Because how would he do it so the pointy end was pointing up?
What is a T-pin?
It's like a push pin sort of, but it's long and it comes up and it bends and it looks like a T. So it's all metal, kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could totally feed the...
Do you think he did it with the pointies up, though, or the T part up? So they sat on the top of the T and not the points?
Nah, with the pointy end up.
That's evil.
Well,
Bob's evil. He's the quiet one that's the fucking serial killer. He's got bodies in his freezer.
Have you ever, what's that movie? Office Space. Bob is the guy down in the fucking basement.
I believe you have my stapler.
I think you have my stapler.
I'm going to blow up the building.
I'm going to burn the building down.
What was his name?
I don't remember.
I fucking love that movie. Anyone who's ever worked in the office has to appreciate that movie on some level. Let's read my story.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This one is called Work Prank on the Newbie, because that's the best kind of prank to play, is on the newbie. They don't know any better. They want to impress, right? Right. Okay. When I was in college, I had a part-time job as a cocktail waitress in a live music club. This place was a total dive, which, in my opinion, just made it better. Hell yeah. Dives are the fucking best, in my opinion also.
I have 2 words for you. Cowshed.
Oh my God.
Anyway, go on with your story.
I miss Cowshed. If anyone is in Southern California and we are at a point in our lives where we can do so, check out the Cowshed. Yeah. But dives are just, the vibe is just so much better than fucking swanky, overpriced bars. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the building was old with wood floors, and these were the days before smoking indoors was banned. Ugh, gross. It smelled bad from all the spilled beer and cigarette smoke. I would go home at night literally smelling like this building after a shift. Even so, this place was magic. So many great performers came through here. Eddie Vedder, Dave Grohl, Mike Watt, Matthew Sweet, Everclear, The Flaming Lips, just to name a few well-known acts, and hundreds of others that didn't make it to the top of the charts but were amazing musicians nonetheless. One night, we were hosting a show for Jonathan Richman. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if it's Rickman or Richmond. Jonathan Richman. He's probably best known by most as the singer-guitar player from Between Scene Interludes in the movie Something About Mary, starring Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz. Yeah, I remember that guy. Do you remember that in that movie? Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Okay. There was like all the little musical interludes kind of going from scene to scene.
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to those.
We should watch that again soon. That's a great movie.
Okay.
Anyway, well, Mr. Richmond plays only acoustic sets and had some stipulations about the conditions of his show. He required almost utter silence in the building. We had to unplug all video games and pinball machines for the night. No pool games were allowed to be played during the performance. And staff had to keep their voices down. You get the picture. Like, why is this guy such a diva? He was like, I was in a movie.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if this was before that movie, though. Well, that movie was a long time ago. That was
what was that, early 2000s? I don't know.
That was mid-90s.
Rip. Something About Mary?
Something About Mary? Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't
late
in high
90s?
school when that movie came out.
Google that shit.
Oh, 1998.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, you're right. Anyway, during the show, a couple of the bartenders asked me to go upstairs to the band room to check for empty glassware. They also told me to look behind the clock hanging on the wall because there was something written on the wall I had to see. The walls of the band room were like a yearbook of every band that had ever come through this place. So much graffiti, it was amazing. So I definitely wanted to know what secret lived behind the wall clock. Very quietly, I opened the door to the band room and practically tiptoed up the stairs as silently as possible. The band room stairs were just behind the stage where Jonathan was performing a very mellow acoustic song. The wall clock was really old and had a long cord plugged into the wall socket below. When I touched the clock, it felt warm, and I carefully lifted it off the wall to expose the secret message. Did I say explose?
Expose the secret message.
When I touched the clock, it felt warm, and I carefully lifted it off the wall to expose the secret message. And then... ... About 50 fucking cockroaches scattered across the wall and my hand. I jumped up and down doing a major heebie-jeebie dance. Proudly, I never screamed or made a sound, which was the bartender's plan the whole time for the gullible young cocktail waitress. Fuck you, bartenders, and my work life.
Yeah, well, and also, fuck the guy on stage who has to have complete silence when you're playing in a bar.
In a bar. But mad props to this girl for not screaming.
Oh, I'd have screamed.
I would have fucking screamed.
Oh, I'd have screamed like a...
If they touched me,
Like a 10-year-old, I would
Yeah.
have screamed.
I would have like screamed like down the
And
stairs.
I used to
out
do
the-
pest control, but there were many times when I did pest control that I would like have to move someone's stove to spray behind it. And when I move it, a million cockroaches would come out. Oh, I would run out to the fucking living room, like run out of their kitchen and then like gather myself and have to go back in and
Cockroaches are disgusting.
just spray all of them.
I mean, something kills them, right? I know they're like semi-indestructible.
Oh no, plenty of shit kills them.
Just
It's
not
just-
nuclear warfare.
I think that's more a myth than
Yes?
than a myth.
Yes?
Yes, yes, a myth.
What movie is that from?
I have no idea.
Myth? Yeah.
Yes, myth. Myth.
I think it's
Yes.
some Mel Brooks movie, but I don't remember which one. It's not Young Frankenstein, is it? I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for writing in.
Yes, and
And-
listening to
and
this
listening.
whole fucking shit show of a
This
podcast.
was a long shit show of.
Yeah, but it was good. People are gonna love it.
Hopefully.
We've gotten feedback. People love when
The
we're
drunk.
a bit tipsy
I know.
and we're talking because we just go off on shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully this episode sparked some memories in you and conjured up some prank stories. Send those in. We will do another one of
Yes.
these episodes. Any crazy workplace story you have,
Yeah, anything.
please send
It
them in.
really doesn't matter.
Yeah, we want to hear them all. We love them.
Yeah.
Send them to our email at fmwlpod@gmail.com.
That's fmwlpod@gmail.com.
You can also on our Instagram, there's a link that you can just click email if you're
Yes.
if you're an Instagram user, and that will come to us. You can send it through there. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at FMWLPod. I signed up for this new thing this week called Pod Chaser.
Yes.
And it's kind of, I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's kind of a social media-y type site that podcasters and just lovers of podcasts can sign up for. And you can
Yeah.
follow your podcast. You can listen to all the episodes of your favorite podcasts there. You can review there. And if you leave a review on Podchaser, for every review you leave, they donate money to Meals on Wheels. So, if you would like to review our podcast, go to Podchaser and review it there, and some money will be donated. I will post the link to our Podchaser page in the show notes as well. What else? Also, just rate and review
Yes.
and follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Apple Podcasts is the biggest
Yes.
one, and if you
please rate and review. It
Yeah.
helps us so much. It helps us get out there because you can just click the stars and we really appreciate that. But if you type something and actually leave a review,
yeah.
it will push this podcast even further.
Yeah, Apple doesn't start suggesting podcasts until you have a certain number of rates and reviews.
Yeah.
So do that if you are liking what you're hearing. We would really appreciate it. Please send in your stories.
Yes.
What else? I think that's it.
That's about it. Yeah.
Thank you guys. This was a long ranty one. So thank
No,
you
this
for
one was
hanging
fun.
with us.
I loved it. It was fun.
And remember to hashtag we drink because we work, and share with us what you are drinking to get you through your work
Or
week.
give us suggestions.
Yeah,
I mean, I like Coors Light, so if you suggest anything else, I'll probably just get Coors Light.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to a listener and friend of the pod who suggested a certain beer that I really want to try called, I think it's Blushing Monk by Founders Brewery, but I have not been able to find it out here. I have tried. So I don't know if it's a Midwest type of thing, but
Maybe we should just look online.
I'm going to keep looking because
Yeah.
I want to try it. So thank you for that suggestion, and thank you everyone for listening.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.